Hello, my name is Stanley, and it is time for Stanley to be Stanley.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him,
Oh shoot, I didn't mean to. So yeah, welcome! The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I played the first Stanley Parable, and this one, as far as I know, is like a lot bigger, and yeah, I'm quite late to the show, but hey, who cares?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Yeah. So the first game, absolutely loved it because of all of the endings, and I hope playing this does not ruin my current ongoing attempt of not playing the first game for 5 years, because there's an achievement for that. And I think that's a decent goal in general for this game, to try to achievement hunt, almost, because there are so many different endings.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh? I know you could, kinda, in the original game, get out of the... yeah. Get out of the windows.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option?
Yes.
Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected Continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Wait, is he really gonna just leave us? Do I have to do a manual restart, or is it gonna come back after some time? just gonna begin the game again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
But that's fun, because in the first one, first game, I don't believe
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Well, if I remember correctly, at least in the first game, there was not the whole you could choose to continue or not.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
But there's computers to beep and boop.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office, because he doesn't
Hello, Pastor. Long time no see. Hope you've been alright. And yeah, the beeps are really satisfying. Uh-oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's start being kind, because this is going to derail so quickly, and we're going to go through pretty much everything. Oh, yeah, this is like, I've soon, yeah, basic business stuff. But yeah, I've been streaming consistently for a month now, if I look at the follow count. So yeah, this is like my, yeah, this is my 12th stream back. Now I'm doing it regularly again, 3 times a week.
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh, there's so much to see here. It's actually... It's like so much stuff. I want to be the white bomber manager. I mean, that's fairly possible, Pastor. And yeah, since you're here, I really gotta get back into adding the chat overlay that only appears when somebody writes a message. Because otherwise, when this gets re-uploaded to the VOD channel on YouTube, nobody's gonna know what the heck you're talking about. Rather, what I'm talking about, but... Right, so far seems pretty similar to the first game, which is good, except it's a lot higher resolution. Sure, I could always give them more mystery than the Stanley Parable, but if they want mystery, all they gotta do is...
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Yeah, let's be law-abiding this time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Well, it's nice of the boss to have their own bathroom.
Stepping
it looks so much better in this game.
Stanley
Everything.
was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, I have a choice. I don't have a choice. I remember the first time I played this game. This part was so creepy, I thought there would be like a jump scare or something. But luckily... I mean, that wasn't the case in the first game, but this game has changed
Descending
stuff.
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Let's just be a good boy for this one. There's so many things to discover, because I don't even know. All I know about the deluxe edition like this is that there are more things than the original game, but I have no clue how to actually get to them.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
No. The rail movement speed from Portal does not exist here. I mean, unsurprisingly,
now, the
but still.
jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427, so that's us, in the middle, CCTV. Well, that indeed does look like our office. And we seem to also have one of the worst offices. So that's nice.
This mind control facility...
Is that a QR
was too
code?
horrible to believe.
No?
It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
And yeah, also, I typically stop as well if something doesn't work after like 1-2 times, but yeah, it's
the heart of the operation.
this game is different, so I
Controls
do give it a
labeled
different
with
kind
emotions,
of
happy or
attitude.
sad or content.
Nice to hear that you
Walking,
like to watch
eating,
this.
working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So let's see. How different is things going to be now? I had another thing. Yeah. Let's do it.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I don't remember there being a building and a car park
Stanley
there.
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh gosh, so yeah, you can't see it, but I got 2 achievements. One for beating the game for the first time, like a proper ending, and the second one was for getting an achievement, or a first achievement that's not that achievement. So that's funny. Let's see, what other achievements are there, because I do know... So yeah, the... Oh no. Oh no. So the first game has an achievement called Go Outside, which is no, there's only like 11 achievements, so it's super short, but they are quite different. So in the first game there is an achievement called Go Outside, which is don't play the Stanley Parable for 5 years. I'm currently working on that one. But this game has Super Go Outside, which is to not play this Stanley Parable for 10 years. Which means that nobody actually has it legitimately, because it hasn't been 10 years since this game launched. So that's gonna be a fun achievement. Otherwise, most of the achievements are just pretty mystical. Like stuff like 8888888, but yeah. Well...
All of this co-work, oh please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Yes, I am.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Oh, come on. I'm soon there, 20.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
I'm way over 50 clicks, but it's 50 clicks since you said that, so let's see. If I remember correctly, this one is going to go completely ballistic.
I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Fine. But where is 417 even? Oh, it's here? That's too low. There.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Was 437 over here? I don't... No. No, it wasn't. Oh, no, it was here.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Alright, boss. 415. There you are.
Now, back to door number 437.
Yes. 437. It's time to click all the doors.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Where's the copy machine? Don't see a copy machine. No, that's too far, so I missed the copy machine. Where's the copy machine? These are all just computadoras. Those are not the ones I'm after. Where's the copy machine? Oh, there's the copy machine.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now.
Right.
I think we're getting somewhere.
We're indeed getting somewhere. We're getting our daily steps in. 2K or
Okay,
10K steps.
now go climb on employee 419's desk.
419? Okay. Come on.
Yes!
Yeah.
This is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go
right.
give me a few clicks on door 416.
416? Is that a door? I guess it is. Alright, here.
We've almost got it!
Yes, we do!
Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Yes! I'm getting the copy machine!
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door, 4th. Yes! We did it!
Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
I mean, this game is just something else. I mean, I guess games like this exist, but I just wish there were a lot more fun games like this. Okay, so what's the next ending? Let's be defiant.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
This is indeed a very nice
Yes,
lounge.
truly a room worth admiring. It had
Well,
really
let's be
been
rude.
worth the detour, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, oh, I'm a bad boy. I'm not listening to you.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So yeah, this still looks pretty much this. Well, okay.
Look, Stanley,
Not
I
gonna
think
jump
perhaps
off.
we've gotten
That's
off
too
on
expensive.
the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone?
Yes.
Now, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
I don't want to go.
Oh, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Well, this is going to be very good.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent.
What?
Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
I mean, the video did say you should make correct choices. And I believe my incorrect choices are correct. Because since they are incorrect, they are correct. Right? You follow me? I follow me.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Can I still get off? Doesn't look like I can. And there's a card swipe there, which is very suspicious. Everything's closing behind me. I'm gonna presume I can't go through any doors. So let's try to break reality apart even more.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Reality
Now
exists,
remember,
but not for
all
much
you need to do
long.
is behave exactly
Or
as
much
Stanley
longer.
would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I can't go back, and I want to break reality apart.
No! Why did you do that?
See?
Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Oh, this would have been nice if that was like a code for something. Okay, I'm going back. But what if I go in again? No? No change? I have to go into the correct door? Is that really it? Come on. I don't want to go into the correct door. It's eerily silent. Oh, good. It's... reality is ruined.
I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... My story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Doesn't look like you succeeded with that. Well, did you? Nope. Okay, now it's definitely turning into a horror game. What the heck?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny?
Yes.
You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious.
But it
would have been so
short
perfect.
and
I
dumb.
worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Exactly, left.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Oh?
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, it's different. He doesn't respond. He doesn't say anything.
No! Why did you do that?
Oh, I guess I
Quickly,
was just too
hurry
fast. Okay, I'll try 3 more times, so it's a total of 5 times of being
choosing responsibly and always
disobedient, and then I'll actually
I'm quite sure you'll be
do
up
what
to
he
the
wants.
task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wait a bit, because it's apparently you can skip the trigger. And I think I skipped the trigger again.
No! Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Quickly, hurry back.
Right, that's 3 attempts to see if there's anything different.
That means
2 more.
choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wait a bit, so the trigger goes immediately. No, I need to go back.
No! Why
That's
did you do
interesting.
that? Quickly, hurry back.
I have to go back
Behave exactly
for the
as
trigger
Stanley
to
would.
trigger.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Gonna do this, and I think I just gotta...
No!
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Yeah, I noticed there's a line on the floor
Behave exactly as Stanley
where the
would. That
text
means
just
choosing
merge or
responsibly and
goes
always putting the
through.
story first.
Goes from
I'm
one
quite
to
sure
another.
you'll
I
be
don't know
up to
why
the
I'm struggling to
task.
talk,
Just follow
and
my
that
lead and you'll
was
be
also the
fine.
trigger point.
All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Gotta go back probably. No? Okay, so no trigger here. This is... Oh, it's not ruined.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a
Oh, I can't go
staircase,
down.
Stanley
They removed
walked
that.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, it doesn't say executive bathroom anymore. Oh, it's completely different.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Nope, doesn't look like I'm actually gonna talk.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
I think Stanley might just be mute.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right.
I
You
did.
could have done whatever
5
the hell
times.
you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
Wait, why is the Leroy and Valve stuck on my monitor?
You need.
Also, this is just a sad ending. Okay, what ending
All
now?
of his co-workers were gone. What could
Let's
it
go
mean?
downstairs.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Because there
Perhaps he
was
had
a...
simply
Wait,
missed a memo.
input. So yeah, let's try to walk downstairs, which means going through the left door and then walk downstairs, because that was... Oh? Oh, the new content is behind the... I guess, kind of the true ending, I guess it is then?
When
But let's
Stanley
do the
came to a
old
set
stuff
of 2
first.
open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go, oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room.
I
Please
enjoy
take
sweeping.
your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, that note. I can't read it because I can't... Oh, I can crouch. It's still too small.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
True.
Why did doors close automatically behind him
True.
wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
Yes.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star
Yeah,
field,
pushing buttons is
and
amazing. It's very relaxing.
So much fun, and Stanley marveled,
Especially
that
if they're
he'd still
colored
not woken up.
buttons that
How
are
was he
translucent as well,
remaining so
you know, like
lucid?
see-through plastic
And
in
then
various
perhaps the
colors, like you have on
strangest question
arcade
of them
machines.
all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked
Those are
himself
great to push.
sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything
This is starting
will be
to turn into a
fine.
self-help video.
I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
I would argue that ending is not as sad as the
All
existential
of his coworkers
ending.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
Yeah,
decided
very nice
to go to
story.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The sad part is stuff like that does happen. Well, let's head into the new content stuff.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Well, let's see what it means. At least I don't have to push a button to save a baby for 8 hours.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Me too, narrator.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
It's noticeable he does not use the same microphone as he did in the original game.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Maybe it doesn't, maybe it is the same microphone, but it sounds a bit different in some scenarios.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I can jump. I can jump! For the first time in forever. Although it's a very odd gravity, I have to say. But this is definitely worth buying the game again. Just for the ability to jump within a very specific circle. Oh. I can't jump anymore. At all. Well, that was certainly worth it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell,
Please
I could
do.
count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
I mean, I would love for the narrator to just narrate something. He has such a good voice.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great
What you
time
mean,
together
no
like
gimmicks?
always.
The
What do you
original
say,
game has a
friend?
lot of gimmicks. Okay, things are very different. But yeah, all other jumps. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's a pretty interesting question. What would you do if you had a finite amount of jumps in your life? Like, you could only jump, like, maybe, let's say, 1,000 times, and after that, you were physically incapable of jumping. How would that affect your psyche? And what would you do with it? When would you choose to jump? That could potentially be a really interesting thing to explore in a game. Basically a game where you have basic movement all the time, but more advanced movement, or advanced in quotation marks, stuff like jumping, is a limited resource, and you have to try to beat the game with the limited resources. What do you mean you wouldn't participate in rope jumping contests? Imagine the person who gets 1,000 jumps. They couldn't have practiced. It's all natural talent, and then wasted their entire life on it. But so far, things are very different. It's no longer just that.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Am I an imposter? For venting? Is this what the kids refer to as sus?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
This is creepy. Okay, no.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Okay. Bit flat, but I think that's intentional. Like the backgrounds and everything. It's very clear it's just a background skybox.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh, this is cool. This is really cool. Time, Indoors Monthly, Graphs, National Geographic. Wait, that's just the same though. Okay. Independent Games Festival, Audience Award, as it deserves. Yeah. Seems legit. All the good times of the few screenshots of the original game. Ah, isn't this a blast? Crappy posters. Now, this is how to do satire. Oh, old Mozilla as well. It's actually nostalgic, and that's sad. Although CRTVs, I'm not nostalgic for. I'm fine without them. Oh, that looks pretty legit. Begin the demo. I never had the demo. I'm working on this one, okay? I'm working on this achievement. I don't know if I got this achievement or not. I think I have it. Create a surprisingly down to earth. Bit of nominees, which is cool. Oh. No. cutie. It's sad that their lifetimes are not that long. Oh, now this is gorgeous.
Is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
I mean, I love the name drops of Persona and Skyrim. And this room, I love it. I would love to have a room like this that is just very still water that you could cool your feet in while you meditate or something in the middle, or to just enjoy and relax. I would also like if there was an optional, like, glass ceiling that you could potentially cover up. Ah, that would be lovely. Wait a minute. That's not Stanley Parable, that's Portal 1. Oh no, I never have an issue with slipping. Like, even now when it's so much snow and ice still, I just walk in my summer shoes and I don't slip. I don't have any issues at all with that. Oh, this is cool. This is like, I don't know what program this is though, but I'm guessing this was not made with Unity, unlike Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So maybe this is like a... Since it uses textures from Valve, maybe this is some form of like custom level editor for Valve games, or where you can use the Valve assets. Basically, maybe this is how Garry's Mod originally was made. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Can't read most of these. I'm too far away from my monitor to read them. Wait, what did it say? The original remake. The greatest wealth is memory. That's meta. Yeah, this collector's edition never existed, sadly. Maybe. That doesn't sound good, Pasta.
Here's another moving passage.
Oh yeah, it is what I thought it was.
GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
But yeah, if you're slipping that much, I mean, there are ways to deal with it, Pasta. How am I supposed to get through here? There's boxes in the way, you know?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
But I want to go in there. But yeah, I mean, sure, not going outside does help, but it's a lot you miss if you never go outside. Like the birds chirping, or like seeing the birds chirp. Sitting by a water stream in the forest as everything is quiet and nice. There's lots of things you can never do from the inside of your home. But how am I supposed to get past it? Because I want to go to the series room. We have to backtrack? Yeah, it feels like the button up there feels like it could be something, but I mean, I ran out of jumps. Repeatable copper textures. I'm missing something. But I don't know what. And if that means what I think it means, we're in trouble. Oh.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
We're breaking out.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I mean, it's probably gonna... yeah, it's gonna focus on the bad ones.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
I'm loving it. I love seeing how self-aware it is. All of the good reviews are blurred out.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, a skip button we shall have.
I mean, that one wasn't really... I don't fully know what that review was even talking about, because the whole thing is you can skip the dialogues, you don't have to wait for them. Oh, I'm not gonna get in the ring yet. I want to see what's behind the wall. Absolutely nothing. Good to know. Well, let's rewind time.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on.
He's gonna ramble on now, and I want to listen to it for a while.
It's a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards. The deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back.
This feels
and never
like
a moment before lunchtime.
you asked ChatGPT
It's
to
the
just
only thing there is. How many billions
write
left
something
until so much more
unsufferable.
than forever ago? Which is why I say the story and the choices.
Oh, it's just
or what have you.
looping. Okay.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games.
It wasn't about that at all, I would
happen
say.
to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what
I
you
think they want you to press
so
the
my
button
theory
again.
is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same
That's called
time,
superposition.
by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to
I
it.
don't know what
But
treatise
wouldn't you
means.
say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto.
They
Heavens,
really
at
want
this
you to
rate,
skip.
We're going to be here all day. Okay, look. I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster.
Okay, I think he's just gonna endlessly
All right,
switch
here we
between
go.
them.
Treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise,
Yeah.
manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise, manifesto, treatise. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review. in the
It's
first place.
another
I
ramble.
guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing
Should I
to
skip
check on
this, or
before
should I
went
just
about
listen
this
to the
whole
rambling?
exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial.
That
Something along the
would
lines
be
of, this
very
game
bad.
is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay,
skip that.
welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it.
The door's gone.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking, and you saying nothing.
Gotta press it again.
Would you think that... Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one...
I don't want to hear that. Hello, fire alarm.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said...
This is odd. There's just periods where the narrator doesn't narrate.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the...
Yeah, he's gone crazy. Yep. Except he's more consistent than a record. I wonder why he's only present in, like, some of them, though. Like, why is he not talking now? Why wasn't he talking in the previous one? And how am I surviving? Oh, this is pretty. Nice shade of green. This looks odd. That it gets rendered through like that. See, given this sandstorm, volcano. Well, that's just creepy. Oh, I'm tilted. Is this a reference to Tilted Towers? It's all in a desert now. I don't think any particular direction is the right one, so... let's just head there. Oh, they've added heat mirages. Intentionally or not. Oh. Interesting, because it...
All of his co-workers were gone.
No
What
sandworms.
could it mean? Stanley
Sadly.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's see if we can do a bit more of the normal playground. Because there's more, I gotta do the compute... New content. Oh, that sounds lovely, but let's do
When
the
Stanley
escape
came to
ending.
a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his
No,
left.
from the normal game.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, now that's a magazine I want. Extreme Bathrooms. Oh. It's different. Let's go down. The best elevator music that's ever been made. Wait, I heard Stanley in that. Wait, it's just gonna play music until you press the opposite button? No, until you just press another button, okay. But why?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Right, so I think what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna do the escape ending and then I'm going to do the new content. After that there is always the detonation ending and stuff. So there's always going to be a way to
Stanley
mix my
walked
bit.
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
This looks like an infinite hall.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk
I am
forward
indeed.
and willingly confront his death.
I am. This reminds me of Portal.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned
That's
and
messed
willingly
up.
accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
No?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
That's sus.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Yeah, this is the credits and beta room, if I remember correctly. Which is nice. I don't know where this new narrator comes from. It feels like it's a text-to-speech one. I haven't gone into the maintenance room yet, so that's a bit of a spoiler. I think most of these are going to be spoilers. Or other endings. Even though I played through them all.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No. Perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail.
What?
Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Okay. Alright, new content. Let's
All
go.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Let's see, narrator. What have you been able to cook up? Oh, another elevator ride. Oh, original.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
I'm buying it. I'm into it.
Calling it the
I'll
Stanley
buy it.
Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2 Now that's an artistic statement right there.
Artistic statement is
It screams progress and
bit too much.
innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Cool red section of the chart. I love all these mock posters. I am most likely wrong, but I think they're supposed to mock the sequels to really bad horror movies. Okay, so more tablespoon? No, TSP. Better TSP. No clue what TSP stands for. Oh, now this. This is it. Two Stanleys.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Oh, I love this sign. I don't know, you see these in real life. Like, these remind me of TED Talks signs. But it is rare to see them in games. Of course, this one's floating, but still. Oh, I have a... No, do I have a choice? I don't have a choice. I walk the red carpet, it's time to go up the concrete stairs.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
A button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. I want that button. There's so many dropped papers. It feels like almost there's a code behind them. Oh, and I can walk there. Oh, there's so many things to do here.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself.
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy
Yes.
now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
I mean, did you really work hard for a button that just says Jim? Let's go off the beaten track.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley?
Yes.
Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
This is so cool. It's so big as well. Jim and Jim. Jim. Oh, I want to be the world champion in settings. I think I'm quite set up for success for that.
You know what? let's bring the jump circle back
Yes.
for Stanley Parable 2 as well.
Yes.
Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Give me more.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Well, you can give me more. Come on. I do notice, however, I did miss the reassurance bucket, so I'm going to have to go back a bit in order for that. And there's also something there. Two. This is certainly how to do a follow-up to the baby minigame. Ray traced. This is the quality stuff I've been looking for.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
I can't make a choice. I'm mute. Oh, can walk here.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Of course it's gonna do that. I should have almost been able to predict that. But let's go for the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
I want it.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact,
I'm stealing
can
this.
I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I'm sold, man. This is it. This is the future. The future of gaming. Oh, you have
Does
seen
anyone
it.
give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Okay. Oh, there's so many things to try here. Jump circle, this map, free achievement. Let's not go for the exit. I can't even go for the exit. So let's go for the collectibles. Collect them all. Oh, this is a nice bridge.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
I'm walking on thin air. Oh, that's so dumb. But does that mean there's actually 6 of them here?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Okay, new easy achievement, let's do that.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley.
Yes,
but
you
I
are.
guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Well, that's disappointing. But since that achievement is unlockable, maybe you will later be able to pull that lever, or there is a combination of things you can do to pull that lever.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Yeah, well, there's this one. And I'm safe. As long as I have my bucket. Very good figure. Oh. Okay. It just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if
that's
you like.
infinite,
A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Infinite value.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
No, I think I'm good. I'm
Sooner
falling.
rather than later spectrum of things.
You know what they sang? They sang that I'm free falling.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep
Oh, I can die?
I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity.
Oh,
From
I'm
one
dying.
perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
But I am a bucket.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on.
I'm here to
I'll just be up
negotiate.
here when you're ready.
I'm here to negotiate, narrator. You said I'll press the button to return to the surface if it was okay with me, but I'm not okay with that. This is not a mostly infinite hole. This is infinity away from being an infinitely deep hole. No? fine.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
But isn't this it, kinda? I think this is everything in the exhibit. Take a look at the map. Settings was locked, merge I've seen, reassurance pocket, I'm holding it, epilogue, collectibles. Yeah, I guess... No, but the exit isn't... Oh, there's something here. Oh, here's the exit.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Yes.
Ready to move on now?
Yes. I have my bucket.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Huh?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
No.
sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes. Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
Yep.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Alright, alright. Alright.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him
These balloons
instructions,
are
call a
dumb.
meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Of course. This is the bucket, after all. I don't remember why you're supposed to press or turn off the monitors, if you're even supposed to do it.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You see, the bucket has so many uses. I could do some percussions using it. I can put it on people's heads to make them not be able to see.
Still no
I can
one was
puke
here.
into it. I can do so many things with a
the
bucket.
bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear
Can I
as
give it
day.
away?
This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now.
There's mine.
It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yep, got in here. Oh, achievement.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting
Whose
all
face
of these.
is it?
Only
Is
the
it the
intrinsic
creator's face?
pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of
And I don't mean
habit,
the Stanley
Stanley.
statue, I mean
God
the
knows
background.
tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him?
I am just...
Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yes, I'm nothing but the vessel of the bucket.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about
It's so
mini
dumb.
stands?
I love
Stanley
it.
figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Does make me feel like I missed a Stanlerine though. In the original Office part.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Now I want to see somebody basically cosplay
and the
Stanley
bucket
with
walked
the
straight ahead
bucket.
through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
This is probably the path with the most figurines.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
Holding right click makes me move
The
forward.
bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that
But once
everything
again, why
would
is
be
2,
fine.
3, 4 so broken?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
And that is indeed what the kids would call based.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
See, the bucket is just the best character right now. It's beating the narrator, fair and square. 2, and then 3 was over here. And I know where 5 is, but I gotta find number 4. Where art thou, number 4? Number 4? Oh, you're up there. But is it open now? No, it's not open, it's closed. So I can't get up to number 4. Guess I can't do this yet. I'll just go into the mind control facility and allow myself and the bucket to turn the system power on, of course, because we did turn it off last time.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another.
What is this game?
This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this already?
What?
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
What? So we got betrayed by a bucket only for us to uncover that the mind control facility was a facade to actually surveil birds. Because apparently you need a human mind control facility to hide that fact. Hey, poster. This looks like our heaven. Just buttons to push. So many buttons to push. If they were just a bit more translucent, I would be loving it. And I would prefer more blue colors. Beep boop boop beep boop boop boop. Oh no, they come begin. Ah, I can't toggle them all. I want to toggle them and let them stay. I want to turn them all off. And then I can turn them on and make patterns with the light. This is not possible. This isn't heaven. This is hell. It's teasing me with what could be heaven, only to twist it in the most unsatisfying way. I think it's just begin the game again.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. Stanley
Always
lifted
grab
the
the
bucket
bucket.
into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
What happens if we do the wrong part?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to them, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh? Okay, okay. A large room, loads of boxes, stairs, something to do with stairs. There's multiple stairs though. Nearby a fireplace, a private but smelly place, that's the bathroom one. Inside a sequel exhibit, already found that one. Nearby a fireplace, I've already found that one as well, so, yeah. So, I guess I can try to go with the stairs. Trust the completionist instincts, 100%. Somewhere both red and blue. Oh, I remember there is one place that is red and blue, but I think we just went past that. A large room with lots of boxes, we've gone past that as well, so I think we gotta do these stairs.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel it. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah, there you are.
Back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
And this place is red, it's not red and blue, and it's a pretty long ending, so I'm just gonna go up to the boss's office. And this place is not gonna hold it, because it's about... it's the red and blue place, and...
Stepping into his manager's office,
Yeah, let's
Stanley
just
was
do a
once
quick
again
ending.
stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
I could probably just do that. To more quickly
All of his
get back to
co-workers
it.
were gone. What could it mean?
And let's do
Stanley
it without the
decided
bucket
to go to
this
the
time.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I do see, however, that I need to start running off the stream, so I'll go and try to do the red-blue, which I think I know where it
When
is,
Stanley came to a
and
set of two
that's
open doors,
it
this
for
was not the
today.
correct way to the meeting room, and
Let's first do
Stanley
the
knew it
red-blue.
perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
And I
so he
believe I need to
detoured
go
through
down
the
here for
maintenance
the
section,
red-blue.
walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh, it is.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Well, I didn't find the red blue, but I don't quite have enough time to continue searching for this stream, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your morning, day, evening, or whatever time it is for you. And I will see you in the next stream. So until then, take care.